You got the boldest. Y'all ready to go swimming, baby? Come on. Give it up. Get out of that water. I try to tell y'all, it's swimming lessons, baby.
Welcome back to another week of the People's Game Day. My name is Dallas Hanson. Thank you for choosing us wherever, however. Just know we appreciate you. Big shout out to our sponsors today, PSP Network. It's football season and volleyball season. Make sure to check them out on YouTube at psp.network. Excited to be working with them and to have them on board here for the People's Game Day. And also River's Edge Bar and Grill, a beautiful restaurant in the heart of the Bakken, Williston, North Dakota. And also the great, the powerful Glosso Angus. Make sure to check out Glosso Angus for all your cattle and beef needs. That's Glosso, Glasoe, Angus.com. It is time for the fastest 3 minutes in college football. To hear Josh Borm and Jordan Neuwirth. But before we get to that, my name is Dallas Hanson. And away we go. Between the hedges in Athens, the Crimson Tide came rolling. Alabama 24, Georgia 21. Dogs bark loud, but the Tide, they bite harder. Tide rises again. Happy Valley wasn't so happy. The Ducks quack back in double overtime. Oregon 30, Penn State 24. Quack Attacks survives the whiteout. Waddle, touchdown. Oxford, Mississippi. Lane train keeps on chugging. Ole Miss 24, LSU 19. Rebels hot, Tigers not. Seattle Saturday nights. Scarlet and gray all the way. Ohio State 24, Washington 6. Buckeyes roll, Huskies whimper. Winston-Salem, whoa baby. Georgia Tech 30, Wake Forest 29. Deeks go for 2 in overtime. Jackets sting 'em and sing 'em all the way home. Champaign dreams. David Olano, cool as a cucumber, nails it at the horn. Illinois 34, USC 32. Fighting Illini storm the field. Trojans storm home empty-handed. Stark Vegas, baby. The Volunteers, tribute for overtime chaos. Tennessee 41, Mississippi State 34. The bell tolls orange and the Bulls keep on dancing. And that's why we love it. Touchdowns, heartbreaks, upsets everywhere, folks. That was your fastest couple minutes in college football. We would like to also thank you and make sure you subscribe to Swim Lessons, a podcast. Here we go with the People's Game Day, brought to you by Swim Lessons Productions. Here are the two best minds in college football. The two best brains in all of college football. It's Lordy, gotta be Jordy, Josh the Leg Borm. Boys, how are we feeling? It's good to see you guys.
We're back. Skurs are back on this week after a good bye week. We're ready to go.
Jordan, are you going to tell us how you're doing? Greetings.
Well, we're back. Eventually, we got here.
Hell yeah.
This guy.
Speaking of God here, what is going on with some of the bigger heads in college football? Borm, before we get to talk about that and some other stories before we lead up to our picks and what happened this last week, why don't you give us a rundown on the standings?
Yeah, so through 4 weeks, we picked 46 games. Jordan bringing up the rear at 31-15, still respectable. Close to a 700 season. I'm right there in the middle at 33-13. Dal kind of running away here, 38-8 through 46 games in 4 weeks.
Jeez,
I think that all comes to. But then, I mean, you're in like last place in our pick 'em where we actually pick against the spread. So.
Well, I didn't.
You're a hell of a money
line
guy, but
I missed
right.
week 1. That hurt me.
Excuses are like assholes.
Okay. Let's talk. Let's bring up our first question. Thank you for the standings there, Joshua. Appreciate that.
Gotcha.
Okay. The big news, boys, this week, and it's pretty incredible, and I did not see this coming. I don't think anybody who loves college football saw this coming. Okay, ESPN's own Paul Feinbaum is considering a surprise career following some things that he listed have been happening in the world. He might be going into politics. Borm, what do you think about this?
It's really not surprising. They're in Alabama.
You don't think so?
I mean, Tuberville already has
That's how you starting this?
Am I wrong? Show me the lie. What Alabama's full of learned doctors? No. They're dumb. They like football. Paul Feinbaum sucks off the Crimson Tide. So
he's
yeah,
going
let's
he's looking to go into the Senate position. He's 70 years old, and he was initially hesitant. Yeah, he was initially hesitant, but then after consulting with some folks, it made it clear that there was an appetite for some political involvement. He said he started taking this more seriously, and now sounds like he's going to do it. So, Jordan, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tommy Tuberville is going to run for governor. Because I think he's also maybe a senator or a congressman or something. So I think he's going to yeah, he's trying to up his say in the matters. Bruce Pearl was rumored to have left Auburn coaching to let his son take over for him to also make a run. He's since walked back on that. So I think maybe that's why they're pivoting to Paul Feinbaum. It just means more in the South, boys. You got to love it. This is a state that had Tom Osborne jump up there, so don't act like we're any better.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, Jordan, let's keep it here with you. A lot of coaches on the hot seats.
Dr. Tom isn't a maniac, sorry.
That's a good point. That's fair. That's valid.
Jordan, a lot of coaches in the hot seat already in this young season. Sam Pittman, who I really enjoyed watching on Any Given Saturday, that really cool documentary, but he's now gone. University of Arkansas will have a new head football coach. There's a few others on the hot seats, but what do you think of all these, the coaching carousel starting already?
Yeah, it's an unforgiving game in the college world, NFL too. But these guys, you don't succeed. I mean, there's already memes going out about LSU looking into Kirby Smart, James Franklin getting let go at Penn State, overreaction Monday, Tuesday here in America. Yeah. When I look at Arkansas, there's a couple guys with ties. Gus Malzahn. I don't know if he has any intention of going back to being a head coach. We saw how he played against Bama. We've seen him coach in the SEC. Auburn hasn't been shit really without him. Hugh Freeze really hasn't steered the ship very well since he got there. They've been kind of middling to terrible. He's a guy with a proven track record. Dan Mullen, another guy with a proven track record. Yes, it's a proven game. Shut up.
It's a prove it
Always
point.
Prove it.
Interesting connection to the Arkansas opening. Rhett Lashley actually played there, went there in college. He's from Arkansas, holds a couple state records for touchdown passes, was a pretty decent high school quarterback. I think he hurt his shoulder or something, so he never got to play at Arkansas. But that's an interesting connection, the SMU coach. I think ultimately, if I'm then, I'm throwing whatever money I have at Malzahn or Mullen, guys that have proven they can win in this league. And fuck, maybe we let Bobby Petrino just run it back, baby. He's still got some juice. Virginia Tech, I just don't think it's time yet for Mike Vick. I think maybe a name like Alex Golish at USF, somebody who's in year 3. He's got a good program rolling there. He's shown he can turn something around. I think they had 3 wins in the 2 seasons before he got there. They were not doing much of anything. He's given them a lot of traction. John Summerall from Tulane might be another name to look for, but Mike Vick, I don't think he gets it this time, but next time go around, if he has some experience and he knows who his coaching staff's going to be, because that's the biggest thing he's going to need to lean on. If they can provide him with that, I think that's what would get Virginia Tech back. So whoever takes it now is just holding it for Mike Vick.
Borm, what did you think of Mike Gundy getting dropped by a place he played at, and that he was truly beloved there, but he's out, and it was a terrible, terrible season for him so far.
That's actually kind of what I was thinking about when we think about Mike Vick going to Virginia Tech. I'm old enough to remember when Scott Frost, the prodigal son, came home to Nebraska. Just because you played there doesn't mean it's going to work out. And I wouldn't say it didn't work out for Mike Gundy. He had a hell of a run there. I think the game just kind of passed him by, and I think Dabo Swinney's probably next. He's stuck how it used to be, and it's not that way anymore. Yeah. You see Dabo struggling to adjust how the game is, and Saban got out. Belichick, one of the winningest. I don't know if he's one of the best. Tom Brady might be the best, but Belichick can't do it right now. But then you look at someone like Deion Sanders comes in with all his bells and whistles and flashiness, and he starts winning some games at Colorado and gaining some traction. I think it's just different how you're going to have to win games now. So Mike Gundy probably held on a little too long. And I don't think it's because he doesn't know football or doesn't know kids. I just think this new era is getting to a lot of these coaches.
Yeah, I'm with you. Good points by both you guys. Let's get to our week rewind. Jordan, we'll start off with you. You called it last week. You said, hey, this is going to be a tough game going into Mississippi State. But number 15, the Tennessee Volunteers survive, improved to 4-1, 41-34 that final. Joey Aguilar threw 2 picks, though. But what were your thoughts on this game for your beloved Tennessee Volunteers?
First and foremost, anytime you can get a win on the road in any of the power conferences, but especially the SEC, you feel damn good about it. That's a tough environment. I don't care what anyone says. You pack your goddamn Tylenol because those cowbells are ringing all the damn day long. Mississippi State, man, they went into this game 4-0. They had a lot that they wanted to showcase. I think they ran for like 192 yards or something on 58 carries. They were just relentless. They wouldn't stop. They didn't go away. Tennessee made mistake after mistake after mistake. They flubbed a punt. They let another one go to the 1. 2 picks that were off the hands of our tight end, Miles Kitzelman. We had a deep ball wide open, would have walked into the end zone from Mike Matthews, dropped it. We had another deep ball get called back on a pass interference, but ultimately they preserved. I had to break out the rally ladder over at the Ferguson household. Don't ask, don't tell. That's my policy. Just know it's 2-0. We were deep in our bag. We move on. We get a bye week. We need it. Get healthy. Jermod McCoy comes back, and we go into the coachless Arkansas.
Borm, you're up, and this game surprised a lot of people. Number 8, Indiana, the Hoosiers improved to 5-0. They got a big win against the Hawkeyes in Iowa, 20-15. Iowa threw the ball 25 times. This game at half was 14-6. Kind of a boring football game. Fernando Mendoza for the Hoosiers struggled a little bit, but what was your thoughts on this game?
This was just like a vintage Iowa football game. Just ugly and probably kind of boring. And then ultimately they lost. There's also like an all-time bad beat in this game. I don't know if you guys saw it. Indiana was up 7, favored by 6.5. 3 seconds left. So, they just have to run out the clock. Dude ran all the way back and took a safety. He could have went down at probably the 20 or the 10, and the game would have been over. But he just kept running, got the safety. So then they won by 5. Iowa covers. So maybe the football gods are not out on Iowa. But I think it shows a lot about Indiana and the ability of this team because of what they did the week before, just kicking the dog out of Illinois, scoring 60 and winning that way. And then they come into a tough place at Kinnick to win a game that, this other kind of slugfest way. There's a big game after the bye week. They're headed to Eugene. Big time game at Oregon. So we're looking forward to that one. We'll see. I think both teams are coming off a bye week. So we'll have Oregon and Indiana and prime condition for a really good game in Eugene.
Number 10, Alabama Crimson Tide, 24. The Georgia Bulldogs, 21. This was a phenomenal football game. Ty Simpson for Roll Tide did very well. They threw the ball 38 times. Jordan, was that weird for the Alabama? And are you really surprised that the Crimson Tide keep this roll against Kirby Smart?
Yeah, this isn't Nick Saban's Alabama anymore. They want to throw the ball. They run it a little bit, but the engine that drives this is Ty Simpson, 24 for 38. They were 13 for 19 on third down, and that's how you knock out the longest home winning streak in the nation at 33 games. Kirby Smart moves to 1-7 against Alabama. That is very, very, very difficult for a few Georgia fans. I know they do not look forward to this game. My man Gordon out in Georgia was in a box at the game, and my thoughts and prayers go out to his family. Before the game, I go, dude, it looks electric, and he goes, Alabama will take care of that. He knew. This isn't his first rodeo.
Is Danny there?
Yeah, by the way, Jordan, Borm and I owe you an apology because we were blowing you up on Saturday night. And
I know you were with Danny.
We wanted to talk to Danny, and you're like, I'm not with him. So then we called Danny, and Danny goes, yeah, I'm not with Jordan either. And
yeah, he yelled at me.
Why?
It was a fantasy football thing. It was, there was a lot of things going on that day. It was definitely Georgia Bama related, but he took his frustrations out on fantasy football. He thinks I'm a corrupt commissioner. I think I'm just a proactive commissioner. The world can decide that another day.
Can we hear about the conundrum on fantasy?
Basically, we had a trade that wasn't going to go through till Tuesday because I had a player playing on Thursday that was a part of the trade. So I asked him on Wednesday morning when I was driving to Lincoln for meetings, and I was like, hey, does anybody mind if I push this through? Crickets. Next day, I make a thing at like 7 or 8 in the morning when I'm driving back, and I go, hey, does anybody? Crickets. Pushed it through. In like 2 seconds, there was 15 messages in the group chat. And I go, you guys are insane. So they were all freaking out. Honestly, it kind of hurt me. I traded DJ Moore and Zach Charbonnet. The moment I trade Zach Charbonnet, he has 2 touchdowns. One of them get called back. And then on this Sunday, 2 quarters into Russ Wilson free football, Malik Neighbors gone forever. So I trade away a receiver. Now I need a receiver. DJ Moore wouldn't have been the answer, but yeah, Sam Laporta. Be nice if you remembered you were on the team.
Well, let's move on.
That's my story. Yeah, let's get out of here. Take it home. Take it home.
Number 2, the Oregon Ducks improved to 5-0. They beat the Penn State Nittany Lions in the whiteout in what is one of the best college atmospheres at Penn State, 30-24. Borm, is Oregon legit, or are we just going to have to be worried about Penn State? Because this is their thing every year, right, Borm? Like, we got all this momentum. We're going to be good. Boom, can't win a big game week 4.
Yeah, Penn State's not winning big games is largely against like top 10 teams. Like Oregon might be the best team in the country right now. So it sucks for James Franklin to be 4-21 or whatever he is, but it's not like they're losing to 25th ranked teams. Like they're losing a lot of these big time high profile games, and it's not like they're getting blown out of the water either. This particular one, Oregon was pretty much in control for the whole game. They took the lead 17-3 with 12 to go. So 48 minutes, it was Oregon pretty much. Credit Penn State and their ability to fight back. They showed the strength of the Big Ten and things that we can do in that conference. Oregon was averaging 50 points a game before this, and they put up 17 in Penn State. So 2 really good teams that seem probably destined for another playoff berth. Like I mentioned earlier, Oregon's got to play Indiana at home. But then after that, Oregon's pretty smooth sailing. Probably every game they'll be favored in, but it's Big Ten, so you never know. Besides like UCLA, that's kind of a layup. But Penn State goes to Columbus and then gets Indiana at home back-to-back weeks here in November. So I think if they don't at least split those games, they probably are going to miss the playoff, but I think they can do that. I think one of those they can get. If they lose both, end up at 3 losses, I don't know if Penn State's in, but I'm confident they can get one of those and then still get into the playoff.
Lordy, this was a fun game and a huge win for Coach Kiffin. The Ole Miss Rebels 24, LSU Tigers 19. Ups and downs. The Ole Miss, I think the big one was the second quarter, 14-0 run against LSU. But Jordan, what did you think of this ball game?
Well, this could have been even worse. Ole Miss fumbled one into the end zone early on in the game that should have been a score. LSU's first touchdown was a tipped ball into the end zone that was luck of the draw that they caught that. Anderson, one of their better players, goes off the game. And, yeah, we could talk about LSU being disappointing all we want, but Trinidad Chambliss for Ole Miss from Ferris State, Natty Champ, going over there, goes 23 for 39, 314 yards, 71 on the ground. Back up to start the year. I don't think they move away from this guy. I think Lane Kiffin's got a lot he likes with him, what he brings to the run game. He makes Ole Miss damn tough to defend. Every blade of grass when you got a guy that can run behind Q.
Ohio State, the number 1 team in the nation, 24, Washington Huskies 6. Borm, we thought this game might be a little bit closer, but the Buckeyes starting to look pretty good.
Yeah, this is the second time this year Ohio State's won a game, largely thanks to their defense, including the Texas game earlier in the year. They held Washington to 234 yards, and important for them, 1 for 11 on third down. So that's just a tip of the cap to Ohio State's defense. They have 2 of the best receivers in the country, so if their defense can play that well, I don't know how Ohio State loses a game. If you can take pressure off that freshman quarterback and the offense doesn't have to do as much, that defense playing well should be scary for the rest of the country. So good for Ohio State. I think Washington's probably a pretty solid team, maybe fringe top 25, but Ohio State's just too good.
Jordan, how about Georgia Tech? The Yellow Jackets starting to quietly put together a hell of a season. They beat the Wake Forest Deacons 30-29. But, I mean, Georgia Tech, Jordan, are they legit? This is a nice win.
I'll tell you what we know. We can add another one to the lexicon of you don't go to Ames, Iowa. Haynes King is inevitable. Down 20-3. This man is old school. He takes so many shots during the game and pops right the fuck up. In an era of dudes who go, and have to take 2 quarters off, what a goddamn champion this guy is. And I wish more people followed his lead. Just unbelievable. Down 20-3. They had a false start not get called, or offsides not get called on the last drive that would have given Wake Forest a first down and probably ended the game. They benefit from that, go down, score, stop them on the 2-point in overtime. And that's all she wrote, baby. Haynes King is the engine for this Georgia Tech team, and tough to replace. If I was that coach, if I don't like who the next quarterback is, I might be looking at Arkansas, because Haynes King is going to be tough to replace. He's that first love you think back on. You just can't get rid of her. She's always there.
And our nightcap was the 4-1 USC Trojans playing the Illinois Fighting for Our Season Illini 34, USC 32. It was a fun game, Borm. What were your thoughts?
Well, this was far from a nightcap. Lincoln Riley threw a fit that the game was at 11 local time and 9 o'clock LA time. But I think it was an awesome bounce back for the Illini. They were absolutely embarrassed last week in Bloomington. Kind of picked themselves up, get ready to go again. It wasn't like they had a cupcake game here. This is USC that's been playing really well. They took control of the game going up 31-17, and then USC scored and went for 2 because of today's analytics. They eventually took the lead, 32-31. Some stones on Illinois, Altmaier, Bielema, all the boys regain composure, go down and get in position for a game-winning field goal. Lano nails it. Good for them. Illinois has a really good chance to go 10-2, just looking at their schedule. They already have the loss to Indiana. They play Ohio State later. That's probably a loss. But beyond that, I would think they win most of their other games. And if you're a 10-2 Big Ten team, I think it's hard for the playoff to keep you out. So the Big Ten's looking like really 5 teams have a serious shot at being in that conversation between Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Indiana, and Illinois. They're really going to be in the conversation. I'm not saying 5 get in, but they'll definitely be considered. So good for Illinois.
And now it's time to make some money, boys. We got to make some money. We got to figure this out. It's our pick time. We're going to do a little over-under, everything in between. Jordan, let's throw it to you. Texas travels to Florida. They're going to take on the Gators. Gators have been struggling a lot this year. Over-under's 53.5. Florida's plus 6.5. Who do you like in this game, and what's a bet we should all be taking?
I would say take the under. 2 offenses that have struggled all year long. The Swamp is not an easy place to play, regardless of how DJ Lagway has looked behind center. The rest of the offense for Florida has struggled. Archie Manning really hasn't found his footing, and I don't think hearing Tom Petty going into the fourth quarter is a place where he's really going to find it. I don't think he'll be the worst player on the field by any means, but I'd take the under and Texas to cover.
Josh?
Texas defense is legit. Florida is not going to look good.
Borm, you don't like Florida, but let's hear this.
I don't like Florida or Texas. So I don't really care. No, this is kind of a test for Texas. And I know Florida's been awful, but Texas hasn't played anybody after Ohio State. They played 3 just group of 5 teams. So they got their 3 tune-up games. Now they're going to go into the Swamp, and I think Florida's probably better than their record has shown. They played LSU pretty tough. They played Miami reasonably tough. We kind of thought that might be a blowout. The loss to South Florida is making them look a lot worse than they are. I do think Texas takes care of business, but they also have the Red River rivalry next week. So I could see them kind of overlooking on paper or, by the records or the optics of Florida might not be very good. So they might be looking a little bit past them. Florida might be able to catch them slipping. I still think Texas, but maybe watch the Gators in this one.
Vandy travels to Alabama. Alabama's riding high right now, Jordan. They're minus 13. I got to rewind. I'm going to take Texas in that first one. Sorry, boys, forgot to make my pick. But Vandy at Bama. Jordan, who we taking?
Vanderbilt just gave up 35 points to Utah State.
Ooh.
Bama's not going to Nashville to a half-built stadium with 20 people in it. Diego, welcome to the fucking show, buddy. Ty Simpson hasn't thrown a pick yet this year. They cover, take the over. I hope they break their foot off so far up Vanderbilt's ass. I'm so sick of that Diego guy.
Come on, baby.
No, buddy.
Josh, what do we like?
Pretty sure this one's in Tuscaloosa after Bama went to to Nashville last year. But anyway,
Yeah,
I'm
that's what
with
I
you,
was
Jordan.
saying. They aren't going to Nashville.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, yeah, I was like, well, they aren't.
Maybe take your
Anyways.
glasses off and listen, boy.
Hey, Nebraska hasn't lost since I put these things on. So,
They haven't played.
well, they haven't lost. They've
All right,
lost
good
to bye
call.
weeks before.
Nobody got arrested?
Not that I know of. So, undefeated, baby.
Pull up
But
the
I'm with you.
reports.
I think it's time for Alabama to just kind of, let's go ahead and cut this Vanderbilt hype. Obviously, Vanderbilt's significantly better than they have been traditionally, where they're just the laughingstock of college football. But I think having them as high as 16th in the country is blasphemous. Alabama, Ty Simpson, like you mentioned, Ryan Williams, Kalen DeBoer. I think they make a statement here and run Vandy out of the stadium, especially after what happened last year. I'm going Alabama. Roll damn Tad.
I think Bama's going to have a little bit of a Georgia hangover. Give me Vandy, baby. I'm going with Vandy. Jordan, Michigan State at UNL. Interesting game. Kind of a weird one when you look at it a few different ways. 53.5 over under. Who do we like, though?
Dude, what's your thing with Vanderbilt?
I'm just telling you how I'm calling it as I see. And I'm number one right now. Do I need to remind you? So I'm
He's
calling it
got
as
the
I
same
see.
haircut as Diego. That's why.
Anyways,
the same barber.
Okay.
It pains me to say this. I don't think Michigan State can really rush the passer, which is what we see take down a Nebraska offense that is very immobile behind center. 0 in their last game. They had 0 sacks against USC. Aiden Childs is a little bit of a playmaker. He had 3 touchdowns, but I think UNL's got enough weapons, and they're probably going to be pretty pissed off after that Michigan game and a bye week. And Coach Podcast is probably going to come out pretty fiery in this one.
Borm, I think we know who you're taking, but what are your thoughts on this one?
Coach Podcast.
Under
he
in
says.
Nebraska.
Nebraska does have the 13th best offense in the entire country right now. Of course, that's buoyed by 2 shitty opponents. I think Cincinnati ends up
Thank you.
being a little better than we thought. But I mean, Raiola threw for over 300 against Michigan, so they can move the ball, especially through the air. Up front, obviously an issue. Like Jordan mentioned, the protection for Raiola was non-existent.
He can't move.
Well, he also
Don't
needs
blame them.
more
He
than-
can't move.
He needs more than 1 second to throw the ball. He's just a human.
Yeah, what does he need? 10?
Well, 3 to 5 would be nice. You're a former offensive lineman. What'd you give? 1?
Danny
1
was really
Mississippi.
fast.
Look out!
Danny, run! Just a couple.
Anyway,
of times.
Nebraska can move the ball for sure. That's not an issue. Their pass defense is actually number 1 in the country. They give up less than 80 yards passing a game. But against the run, they're really, really bad, and that's been an issue all year. Obviously, was the difference in the Michigan game. They're giving up 174 yards a game on the ground. That's 110th in the country. I would assume during the bye week we short some things up. Maybe let's put a little end to this 3-3-5 experiment. Let's get more people in the box, get a 4-man front, something like that. Again, they're the professionals. But men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Nebraska has to be better against the run, or they will not win another game. You can't be that bad against the run in the Big Ten. It's just not going to happen. So I do like them here coming off a loss at home after a bye, make some adjustments. Too much for Michigan State.
Take them to the boneyard, baby. Give me Nebraska. Mississippi State at Texas A&M. Lordy. Are we buying into the hype of Texas A&M being a good team? I mean, their coach went off, and I mean off at the press last week, saying, why is the press always so negative? Let's talk about some of the positives. And he was kind of right there, but who we taking, Mississippi State or Texas A&M?
Yeah, that's rich coming from somebody who coaches for a cult. I don't think Texas A&M's a bad team. I think they're a good team. as we get more into the season, we'll see if they're a great team. Good teams win, great teams cover. I don't think they cover this week. I think Mississippi State showed me a lot last week. They don't abandon the run. Bailey Sharpens tough as nails behind his O-line. I think they cover. They don't win, but they go into the 12th man, and maybe they sneak in a few cowbells.
Josh?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not sold on A&M. I know they beat Notre Dame, but I just don't know how good they are. And this, Jordan, this could be a prove-it game for the Aggies.
A prove-it game?
They got to prove
it is. Show me, baby.
They kind of limped through that Auburn game last week, and I don't think Auburn's awful either. I just think A&M's a little bit overrated, and I do think Mississippi State's kind of hungry for that kind of signature win. We thought maybe ASU was that signature win. They flirted with it against Tennessee. Now maybe this is the one. So I don't know if I'm ready to pull the trigger on that yet. I'm with you, Jordan, though. I do think the Bulldogs cover here at Kyle Field. Suck one, A&M.
I'm taking Texas A&M. This one is for Johnny Manziel. Give me Texas A&M, and I'm hammering the over. All right, it's time, Jordan. Ames, Iowa. They're on the road this week. They're traveling to Cincy. Iowa State on a little bit of a run here. Does it continue at Cincinnati?
Cincinnati, while putting up 600 yards of offense, also gave up 600 yards of offense. So classic Big 12. Mike Gundy, we miss you. Mike Leach, we miss you. Battle of the Mikes there in the Big 12. I think this game is going to be more of the same. Iowa State looked pretty good last week. I think they won 39-7. So I'm hoping they bring a little bit more defense to this, and I'll never pick against my boys from Ames. Even if Sorsby is starting to find his stride, I'm taking Ames, Iowa. Take the overs if you're smart.
The leg, what do we think?
I thought that was a really big win for Cincy at Kansas last week. I know
Sweet Stadium.
People about our age think Kansas is just terrible, kind of like Vanderbilt. Like Kansas and Vanderbilt were so bad for us growing up, and now they've turned a corner. So I think it is a good win for Cincinnati. I think they're better than they were last year. Sorsby, like you mentioned, he's been a force. He's thrown for 325 yards a game after virtually not even throwing the ball against Nebraska. He had 388 against Kansas in Lawrence. So I think Cincy's better than they get credit for, and I think Nebraska's secondary made Sorsby look pretty bad. So even though he's not. So I think they have a chance here. Iowa State was kind of lackluster in their first 4 games. I mean, they drubbed South Dakota, the FCS school, who's not awful, of course, but like K-State and some of these wins they've had were like, who'd they struggle with? Arkansas State. I just haven't been impressed with Iowa State. They handled Arizona this week, so they obviously figured something out. The problem is they have to leave Jack Trice. They have to leave Ames. Give me the Bearcats with the upset here.
Ooh, bore me. I'm going with the Cyclones, baby. Give me Iowa State. All right, Jordan. Miami at Florida State. Florida State was riding high until this last week. This is an interesting game, big rivalry, but who are we taking?
Well, I think Florida State's going to be reeling. I think there's going to be a little bit of a – I don't think when they went into Virginia, they thought that the crowd was going to bring it the way they did. That was evident from kickoff that those people wanted that game. That was awesome. That's what makes this sport so great. They lined the whole edge of the field, and nobody made an attempt to stop them. I think Squirrel White might be dead. I think he got trampled.
They killed him.
That was crazy.
He's a small man. Small man. Listen, Florida State is going to go up against a very good Miami defense. Reuben Bain Jr., 22 tackles on the year, a pick, pass deflection, 2 sacks. This guy's building his case for Defensive Player of the Year and probably being a top 10 pick in the draft. Miami has a penchant for explosive players, and this is another one of them. And I say it every week. Latinas fixed Carson Beck. Take Miami and take the over.
Josh?
I still don't know what he's talking about, but I'm going to keep letting him just say it, that Latinas fixed Carson Beck.
You never
Wasn't
met
his
a
girlfriend
Latina?
a white basketball player or was she Hispanic or Latina?
Yeah, no. It was one of the Cavinder twins, and then they broke up for a little bit because he was quote unquote cheating on her with Latinas.
So they did fix him. Dodged a
He's a
bullet
baller
there.
now.
What are we talking about? Miami, Florida State? Yeah. Here's the thing. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Besides maybe a team coming off an embarrassing loss, like Florida State just did. They're about to play their rival at home. I think they have a quick turnaround to get this. Or actually, they have a long week since they played, wasn't it Friday night? Or whatever it was.
Yep.
So I think they have an extra day to get this right. They know who's coming to their place. I don't remember the last time a team came to their place. They were really good. I think Miami's been really, really good, and I think they're probably obviously a playoff contender and maybe even a title contender. But Florida State's hosting them after a shit show last week. Castellanos and the Noles have a day, and they pull the upset. Give me Florida State.
Michael Irvin is going to travel with the team this week, I have been told. I am hammering the Hurricanes. I tell you guys this every week. They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to have a chance to win the whole damn thing. We got to go win the whole damn thing. So give me the Hurricanes. I'm a big Miami guy.
Prove it game for Miami.
This is a prove it game for Miami. A big time prove it game. All right,
Lordy,
Lordy,
what's going on?
Right on cue. After we stole your prove it. UVA at Louisville. Louisville plus 6.5. 66 is the over under. What the hell, Jordan? Who are we taking?
I've watched Virginia for a couple games this year, the Florida State game, the NC State game, and one thing I haven't seen other than a few explosive plays, their DN absolutely mauled Castellanos by the goal line early in the game and had a nice pick on him. Just mothered him. It was beautiful. Other than that, there's not going to be much defense in this game. Two teams really looking to be sneaky contenders in the ACC that SMU and Clemson both don't look like who we thought they would be. Miami's running away with this by and large in the conference, but I like Virginia. Chandler Morris showed a lot of moxie last week in that big win, but Miller Moss came back from 17 down at home with Jeff Brom. I'm taking Louisville. I'm taking Papa John's. Take the over for sure. There's going to be no defense.
Born.
I think we see this a lot when we see two teams where like this is going to be a shootout for sure, and then it's like 10-3 at halftime. I don't know. I just feel like that happens. Like Texas Tech, Utah a few weeks ago was supposed to be a shootout, and it was 13-10 with 10 minutes to go. Obviously, Tech scored a bunch of points there at the end, but sometimes these potential blowout or shootout games just turn into kind of a snooze fest. So that's a big number for an over-under. I'm not sure I like it, but wouldn't surprise me at all if it does happen. These two teams are coming off really big wins. Virginia's obviously more notable. They murdered a guy with the crowd storming. Louisville outscored Pitt 17-0 in the second half. They were down 27-17 a half. Pitt didn't score again. So that's a big win. They're gritty. They'll fight. This is a tough test for the Hoos coming off of an emotional upset win, kind of like you mentioned a hangover for whoever you said earlier. I think they kind of blew their wad against Florida State. Louisville escapes with a win at home.
I'm taking Louisville as well. Blew their wad, LOL. All right, Washington at Maryland. Jordan, I know you're kind of a Husky guy here. You like the Huskies, and that came off rude. I mean, like I did not when that came out. That came out incredibly rude. I meant like you're a fan of the Huskies. I did not. No pun intended. But Washington.
Did I have a big dog T-shirt growing up? Yes, I did. Let's move on.
I apologize. Washington travels to Maryland to take on the Terps. Maryland plus 5.5 right now. But do the Terps get a big win here against kind of a reeling Washington team?
Well, Maryland's only allowing 92 yards rushing a game. Jonah Coleman has 9 touchdowns on the ground and 417 yards so far for the Washington Huskies. They tried to get the run game going. They had 30 rushes for 61 rushing yards last week. For them to be good, that's part of their identity. Damon Williams on the ground also. So I think they do get the run game going. I think they go into Maryland to a really good team and they take a win there. But don't sleep on Maryland. The freshman quarterback, Malik Washington, has got some talent. 8 touchdowns, only 1 pick this year. Mike Loxley's got himself a baller at quarterback.
Josh.
Yeah, another good one in the Big Ten. These are two teams that are in that second, maybe third tier of what is very clearly the best conference in the country. I'm sure Jordy agrees. Washington was, kind of in the spotlight last week since Ohio State came to their place. Some people even said maybe Buckeyes were on upset alert. And Washington did play tough, but for the most part in this season, Washington and Maryland have been just kind of laying low, flying under the radar, winning games. And Washington, again, played tough against Ohio State. I think it's going to be a great game and a difficult one. Washington's got to go all the way across the country, probably one of the longest road trips in the whole country this year. But I do think they can overcome that and win a close one in Maryland or against Maryland in College Park.
Yeah, I'm goddamn, I had Washington, but after you said that stuff for them, I'm kind of double checking this one. I'm still going to roll with Washington. I think they have a big comeback this week. All right, let's move on to one of my favorite parts of the show. It's the BBW, but it's no longer Borm's biggest winners. It's now Borm's biggest wagers. So this week's BBW is...
Well, there were a couple that kind of jumped out to me that I thought were strange, which means you should probably do the opposite of what I'm about to say. Texas Tech, first of all, is getting 10.5 or giving 10.5 at Houston. Houston just about lost to Oregon State. So I don't think Houston's very good. I think Texas Tech is pretty good. I'd probably take Texas Tech with the points there at 10.5. Speaking of Oregon State, they're winless. They're 0-5 on the road in Boone, North Carolina, home of the Mountaineers at App State. And Oregon State's favored. I like App State in that one. So Alabama's giving 10.5 against Vandy, like we kind of talked about earlier. I would hammer Bama that one. I don't see that game being close, just with everything that's going on. But the BBW of the week, I'm thinking bang for your buck here. Not necessarily a guarantee or a lock, but something that might win you some money. Syracuse, money line against SMU. If you take them with the points, it's even money. That's fine. I think they're getting 16.5 at SMU. But if you take them money line, that's plus 550. So bet 100, win 550. Give me the orange for the BBW this week at SMU. Forget the points. Give me money line.
It's Jordan Love back to pass, and he's picked off by Neuwirth. This one's going to go for 6. It's time for the Neuwirth pick 6. A 6-leg parlay. Loaded, it's got to be Jordy. It's got to be the Neuwirth pick 6.
Keep Jordan Love's name out of your fucking mouth.
Yeah, that was kind of a cheap shot.
I didn't stay up hammering hams to watch a tie and then have you fucking sandbag me like this. I
still can't believe the NFL allows ties.
Yeah, that sucks.
What kind of dog and pony show are we running here?
Not a good one. Anyways, I got a little bit of a pick 6 here, boys, and I'm going to throw in a 7th with a little bit of a cover. Pitt over BC, over Boston College. Feel like Pitt's going to be a little pissed off after that not scoring in the second half, losing to Louisville. The Illini over Purdue. I think the Illini kind of found who they were last week. Luke Altmaier looked good, even caught a touchdown pass on the Illini special. Iowa State over Cincy. We've heard my speech on this. Washington over Maryland, Texas over Florida, Miami over Florida State, and the cover Mississippi State against A&M. I put that in yesterday on Fliff. $2 pays $98.
Ooh, I like it, Jordan.
I don't know what that all adds up to. I'm not really much of a math guy, but Fliff, for all of you out there, they give you a free $1 every day to shut up. Every day to play. It's free money. You don't win often, but it feels good to make some picks.
I love it,
It's
dude.
free money. Yeah. For you gambling addicts out there, Nate Marquez. Also, I forgot to mention in the coaching thing, Pat Fitzgerald had his legal shit with Northwestern cleared up, so that's a name that might be popping up again this year. Kind of forgot about old Patty Fitz. Made Northwestern kind of tolerable.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you. Well, boys, this was another great, outstanding week. We appreciate all you for listening here to the People's Game Day. Until next week, my name is Dallas Sanson. As for Josh Borm and Jordan Neuwirth, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next Thursday.